This conference will now be recorded.
Right, good evening, everyone. I went out.
Hi.
Yeah, we're on. So we're recording. Okay. So thank you, everyone, for being here this evening and joining us online. I went outside this morning and thought, yeah, spring is here, right, with all the wind and everything. And I can see it out there now. Let's go ahead and start with Pledge of Allegiance and the flag salute. Of course, we have to do roll call, and then I have a guest here, or we have a guest here that we'll get in before the closed session. So roll call. So Commissioner Anaya.
Here.
Commissioner Powers.
Here.
I am here. Commissioner Brennan.
Here.
And Commissioner Donner.
Here.
Okay. Go ahead with the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Salute the flag of the state of New Mexico and to see a symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Okay, David, would you like to come up and introduce our guest?
As the Commission is aware, I've been working a lot on Echo Ridge efforts since one sort or another, and Scott approached me. This is Logan Mamanakis. He's going to be doing a lot of the initial work of following up on my cleanup efforts as well. I wanted to give him a talk to you, though, about what he wants to work on for his Eagle Scout service project. Okay, Logan?
Hi, Logan.
Hello. So I recently been working on my Eagle Scout project, and I was looking and I heard that the Echo Ridge Pike needed some work done on it, and so I went out there and I looked around, and I had three main goals that I was thinking of accomplishing. The first one was there was some trash around, and I thought that we could go and pick up the trash, and that would be a good first stage. And then the other one was I heard that there were signs in the works, and if those in the works, then we could install those. The last one was we realized that a big issue, part of the reason that there was trash all over is because people were able to drive on the trails and drive back there, and so we thought if we could go and somehow block the trails, then we would be able to help reduce the amount of trash that was being accumulated back in the trails and being dumped throughout the pike. And we were originally planning on maybe using some large boulders or rocks to do that, but then we thought if we get like 3-foot T-posts, that would be something that scouts could do, because I'm supposed to lead this, and I have several youth volunteers that would be willing to do this.
Okay, I have some questions, if that's okay.
Yeah.
What is your timeline?
Right now we're looking at doing it the first week of May and maybe the last week of April.
Okay. Would you have helpers?
Yes, helpers. We have several people in the scout troop, and I have a lot of friends who are willing, friends and also community members who are willing to come help.
How long do you think it might take?
So we were thinking it might take 1, maybe 2 days, because picking up the trash would take a couple hours, and then if we do signs, we could split into 2 groups, and one could go to finding the site trails, and then we could all, in the last 3 or 4 hours of the project, finish blocking the site trails. And if we ran out of time on one day, we would have the second day to complete it.
Okay. I really commend you on all of the hard work that you have earned in your progress and journey on being an Eagle Scout, and I think it's a great project for you to do. And I'm sure if there's no objections from the commission, you will probably have our permission to continue. I want to open it up for questions or comments from the commissioners too.
I have a question.
Use your mic, please.
Again, thank you for doing your pledge to be one of the highest levels there are for the Boy Scouts, my understanding. I was a Boy Scout 100 years ago, And that was such a rewarding experience for me. And it was a lot of fun. What do you need from us as the commissioners or the town to help you out, to move or install, road blockers?
Road blockers, so we were thinking if you had, materials like T-posts already, and those are available for use, but if not, I think we can, one of us can bring the vehicle, and we would just need to, get the materials, and then if we could, like, a reimbursement or some donation of some sort from the town. I don't think it would be that much, but.
Okay, about how many, young men are you gonna have with you?
So, there's 5 or 6 people in a scout troop, along with, I go to a youth group in the mornings, and there are probably another 10 people there that would be willing to help. So 15 to 20 people in total, including me.
Are they pretty strong?
Yeah, pretty strong.
Because we're, one of the items that, BLM is requiring that we put in front of it is boulders. Do you think you can pick them up?
There's more than one way to move a boulder, right?
That's not what my dad said. I appreciate, everything that you're doing, and we'll help you in any way we can.
I just want to say thanks for offering your service to the community. We really appreciate it. And thanks, David, for enrolling the scouts in this. I think it's great to involve the scouts in this effort and everybody that wants to participate. So thank you.
Logan, I have a son who's in Cub Scouts, so it's awesome to see good role models for the younger scouts as well. Have you reached out to the younger scouts and see if they'll help you guys with trash? Kind of divide the contact.
But if I could get a contact for them, I would be willing to reach out.
Yeah, I'll get you Kev's contact information.
Logan, I really appreciate what you're working on. I too was the Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts. For me, it was only 50 years ago, but, and that's real. Have you put together any drawings on, exactly what it is you want to do for a, demonstration, so we could show the public exactly what's going to be going up?
I have a few, later down. A big part of it was figuring out the exact trail map. But, in general, we were thinking, the main road, I have a drawing somewhere where down the main road, because that's where we're going to be blocking the trails off from, because that's where all of the side trails connect to. And then trash collection, a big part, I have a drawing of boxes over the parking lot areas. From my understanding, it has a lot of trash there, and just general broken glass everywhere, and stuff that, we could pick up.
Suggestion you might want to try is like for where you want to put the T-post, just take a picture of that area, print it on a piece of paper, and then on that paper, you can draw in exactly the location you want to put those T-posts. Save you a lot of time.
Take a lot of before and after pictures, and we'll get them up on the website.
This
Okay.
is great.
Thank you, Logan, so much, and thank you for choosing, Echo Ridge. Yep. Thanks, David. Next is agenda approval.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next, we're gonna go ahead and go into closed executive session. So I need a motion, reading specifically the reasons we're going into closed session.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we go into closed session on 5 items tonight, all pursuant to section 10-15-187 of New Mexico statutes. First item for confidential discussion regarding pending litigation, John Bassett versus the town of Edgewood. Second item for confidential discussion regarding possible litigation by Horrocks Engineering for unpaid invoices for work performed by the town. Third item for confidential discussion regarding pending litigation, Miguel et al. Versus John Bassett et al. And the related Court of Appeals case A-1-CA-39388, update and obtaining town records from the prior law firm, and court approval of the town's intervention. Item number 4 for confidential discussion regarding pending litigation, Joseph Campbell versus the town of Edgewood et al. And Cheryl Uppers versus the town of Edgewood. Item number 5 for confidential discussion regarding litigation by Abraham et al. Versus Abrams et al. Denial by Court of Appeals.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. Any discussion? We'll do roll call vote. Commissioner Donner?
Aye.
Commissioner Brennan?
Aye.
I vote aye. Commissioner Powers?
Aye.
And Anaya?
Aye.
Okay, we're gonna go into closed session.
I just have one item if I could, or just comment. Can I do that?
Yes,
I just want to say by explanation to the public, we usually put these items at the last of the meeting because this is the most boring part for the audience to wait for us to come out of closed session, but we're going to be getting some advice from an attorney that could only do this during this time.
All right.
Okay.
So we have Kay. All right. Well, you need a motion to come back into open session.
Madam Mayor, make a motion, we come back in open session.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All right, we'll do roll call vote. Commissioner Powers,
Aye.
Commissioner Donner,
Aye.
Commissioner Brennan,
Aye.
I vote aye, and Commissioner Anaya.
Aye.
Okay. And, I affirm that I had no conflicts of interest and only those items on the agenda were discussed.
I so affirm also.
I so affirm.
I so affirm. I so affirm.
All right, next we have the consent agenda. We have two sets of minutes here that need to be approved. I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to, approve tonight's consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Brennan seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next, we have public comments on agenda items. So welcome again, everyone. And to those of you in the room, you can come on up with any public comments you have on the agenda item specifically. If there is no one, then we will go ahead and go online. Jesus, can you unmute caller 2 and 3? All right, caller 2 or 3, do you have any comments? Go ahead. Is it Mr. Seegers?
How do you get online to comment if you wanted to?
They'll ask you because you're on.
Huh?
They'll ask you. I don't know.
You are on.
I'm on mute.
Mr. Seegers?
I'm sorry. I have no. This is Martha Eden. I have no comments.
Did you have a comment, Mr. Seegers?
They're asking you. They're asking you. Do you have any comments?
No comment.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, let's go ahead into the go-to meeting. We have Linda Burke. And,
I don't have any comments tonight.
okay, we have some for you, though.
Yeah, Linda,
Okay.
first of all, I want to thank you for all the things that you have done for the town and on behalf of the town. So I'm going to ask the commissioners to join me in helping you celebrate your birthday. So here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Linda. Happy birthday to you.
I guess that makes it officially my birthday.
What did she say?
I think that must make it officially my birthday. Thank you. I appreciate the kind gesture.
We'll be over for cake later.
Officially and very publicly, her birthday tonight. Okay, so anyone else here in the room has on the agenda items? Okay, and next we'll go to matters from the mayor. I just wanted to announce great news that we are resurrecting the YES program, which is Youth Events for Summer, and yay, we're excited. Everyone knows that's at the top of everyone's list in the community as far as things that they really want, and has been an initiative of myself and former Councilor Abraham for a very long time. And so I'm very pleased to announce that we also have support from Santa Fe County, and so they are supporting us with $30,000 for the program for this summer, and also they're asking for support with their DWI program as far as our community supporting that program and getting out awareness about DWI, et cetera. So we will make those connections and try to get information distributed out throughout Edgewood as well. So that's great news, and I really need to thank so much Parks and Recreation. So Ben, please pass along our appreciation. You guys have done a great job, and this is in the beginning stages, but we already have the kind of template from the past, and then working on that, updating it, and making it work for this summer for the 8-week program that we voted on last time. And we will be most likely having it here, a combination hopefully of the gym, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, of the gym, and then also here utilizing the computer room, the activity room, etc. So that's what it's looking at as of right now. And so big thanks to Allison Apple and Linda Burke as well, and to Kay and Stephanie for just really working to get this off the ground. And I know we still have time. It doesn't start until June, but at least the parents know that they will have somewhere for their kiddos to attend and stay active and learning and growing through the summer too. So Motorcycle Awareness Month of May, we do have a proclamation to approve. Yes, at the next meeting. Okay. So we will have a presentation by the community member who has brought this forward to us, and I believe this was approved last year, and so we'll bring that to the second meeting in April. An update on higher education classes. There's a group of us who are pursuing higher education classes here in the community, and whether that be just supplementing their current education or also community college type classes. And so I just wanted to let everyone know that we are working toward that actively. And a legislative update. Okay, so this is a lot of information. I'm going to try to boil it down here. But we do have the special session, right? Developing a revised junior appropriations bill and enacting economic relief for New Mexicans. So that is starting, or has started already, and the legislature will fund $50 million in projects, and also taking a look at some economic relief to New Mexicans because of rising inflation and high gas prices. So there'll be possibly a fuel rebate for taxpayers, and some other, looks like, tax cuts. So just wanted to announce about that. And then as far as the legislative session, I didn't want our meeting to go too long last time, but so this might be kind of old news, but from the regular session, which was only 30 days this year, they did decrease gross receipts taxes at the state level. Okay, so not the local, but it does decrease the local GRT as well. So the state would be over 2 years reducing the rate to 5% on July 1st, 2022, and then 4.875% on July 1st, 2023. So most of the 8%-ish that everyone pays, the lion's share of that, I don't know if everybody knows, but that goes to the state. And so for this tax package that they passed, they're decreasing that state share. So they did do that. And there's also an exemption for municipalities on hold harmless, phase out. The legislature looked at putting a moratorium, a 5-year moratorium on local GRT enactments, and that actually did not pass. So the Municipal League was successful in advocating for us local governments and saying, no, you as the state shouldn't be telling the local municipalities and counties if they should enact taxes or not. So that did not pass, which was good. More money for police departments. So there's increased law enforcement protection fund distributions, and There's 15.5 million actually going extra into there that will start in FY '24, and then death benefits of $1 million per fallen officer. And that's an indefinite period of time as well, starting in fiscal year '24. And then also 10 million for recruitment and retention stipends, and that's something you all know that we've been trying to implement here in the town. And there's 10 million for that over a 5-year period. And then retention payments for officers and training support as well, 1.3 million over a period of 3 years. So this is all coming from the state level. There were some changes in destination-based sourcing in the gross receipts taxes. You don't need to get into details on that. 828 million for capital projects was allocated out throughout the state. And of course, we received 1.150 million for water treatment for the town. And so that's excellent news, very exciting. And then also, what was it, 584,000, I think it was, for trails. And that's another initiative that we have. And so the hard part, of course, is I always been warning everyone, we have this tsunami coming at us of funding and projects. And so we're going to need to be prepared, draw on resources from other entities and organizations. The Municipal League has a grant writer that I reached out to. So anyway, just suffice it to say that we have a lot coming toward us that we're going to have to be working with. House Bill 153 also authorized a total of 259 million in GO bonds for senior citizen facilities, libraries, and higher ed projects statewide. And there were some other special appropriations allocated to by the state. They did some changes to the cannabis laws, and one of them that I just thought was interesting is the cannabis excise tax that we can enable, which GRT is going to be taxing at the buyer's location rather than the retailer's location, which is lining up the GRT that they made changes to, I think, last year. And they also created a grant opportunity council within FA and the local government division. And so this grant opportunity council will help support local governments in identifying and applying for federal and other grants. So that's something that our administration will work closely with them in obtaining funding for our local municipality. The taxes are being paid anyway, so might as well apply for them. Public funds for essential services. Now this one is, we've talked about this before with broadband, where I've been concerned about the anti-donation clause of the New Mexico Constitution. So long ago, I think the state of New Mexico was helping, possibly in a corrupt way, the railroads to come in. And so they were using state funds to assist private entities with, taxpayer dollars. And so for that, what they did is create this anti-donation clause of the Constitution of our state. And so what that means is you cannot provide assets or assistance or anything to private individuals or private companies, and that's just part of our Constitution. Well, as broadband, everyone's asking for broadband, and the federal infrastructure laws is pushing out just like billions of dollars for all this infrastructure. My concern has always been we can't just give away those services. It's a utility, basically, just like the sewer, we have to charge for those. Even I think there's an entity in northern New Mexico called ReadyNet that provides fiber, and so for that internet access, that people do have to pay for that, even though it's a government and governmental entity providing. So anyway, what they did is they are now going to put this out to the voters. So the voters of New Mexico are actually going to have to vote on allowing the use of state funds or resources to provide essential services such as internet, energy, water, or wastewater treatment. And so it's a constitutional amendment that's kind of vague, but it could allow for state funds to be used to support privately owned infrastructure projects. So it wouldn't be you know, government owned anymore. They could actually just provide this money to private entities. So you all will be voting on this constitutional amendment, and wanted to let you know about that. Increased procurement code preferences. So for resident businesses of New Mexico, that's increasing from a 5% preference to 8%, and expands the criteria to qualify for a veteran-owned preference. So that deals with procurement. Then there were a couple of significant substantive legislation that did not pass. The voting legislation that you guys probably heard of that was proposed to the election code, that did not pass. And then also the Green Amendment, which could have exposed municipal governments to significant liability risks under the New Mexico Civil Rights Act, basically telling people that they have certain rights related to their environment, which would then put liability on us. And so that did not pass as well, and the Municipal League was successful in holding that back too. So there were a lot of other bills that were passed that I won't go into, but that's pretty much the highlights. So, okay, BIL funding, this stands for Bipartisan Infrastructure Law funding, and this is what you all have heard from the federal government. I didn't write down the numbers, but it's trillions of dollars going out to the states and funneled down to the local governments. And for that, we have, like I said, that tsunami that's facing us, where we will be applying for grants through the state agencies. So, go ahead, Commissioner Donner.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just want to kind of add on to that. The amount of grants and the time frames that we have to be able to complete them is just absolutely insanity. Some of them are due by the end of April, some due by end of May. A majority are due by the end of May, but it's it's going to be a hustle over the next couple months, and any help that we can get from you all would be greatly appreciated. And I'll talk more about that here.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, there was one request for federal appropriations too, actually two from Lujan and Heinrich's offices that we received. And I know that we had a 1 week turnaround on one of them. So basically by next Monday, I think it's due. And so we are furiously pulling together information, and that's going to be a lot of work. The EOC grant funding, this was a success. This was exciting. Through the police department, NINA actually assisted in applying for the grant on this. And did you have information, Chief? Did you want to share, or?
So we still don't know the amount.
Can you use the mic though, so the public can hear you?
Madam Mayor, Commissioners, so we still don't know the amount that was awarded, but we did get a definite answer that we did get approved for some portion of this grant. So this grant is based for coronavirus relief, but we could use it in multiple different ways, from PPE, gloves, first aid kits, even all the way to radios. So it's looking like a very positive grant.
Yeah, a lot of equipment and things that we should be able to purchase and use also for the Emergency Operations Center. And I'm very excited about that. The emergency operations for the town is really complex because we have all of these counties and municipalities to organize and deal with. So we really need an operations center here on site that can handle if something was to happen, such as, I don't know, wastewater treatment plant overspill, or something slips off the bridge, off the freeway, or, you know, whatever it might be. That's important. So I think the amount we applied for was $90,000, and so hopefully it's close to that. The Board Docs transparency software and website, we did do a demo on that, and it is fantastic. You guys are all going to love it. It's subscription based, which we kind of suspected, for $7,500 a year. but it is going to decrease the burden and work on the staff and increase transparency to the public very, very significantly. So everything will, all the packets, all the minutes, everything will pull into this website that has a lot of information that's searchable, so that you guys don't have to click on every single PDF. You can just go in and then search everything, search all the documents and all the information on meetings, and everything will be in there. Tyler Data and Insights Transparency Portal, this is another one of our efforts. Council had approved funding for this, and we have started the process already of the setup. And Stephanie, I don't know if there's anything new on that. The last that I was working with you and Amelia is pretty much that we were, you know, telling them how we wanted it to look and what we wanted the public to be able to see. So, no, we haven't heard anything yet. Okay. So we submitted those forms, and then it's up to the vendor, Tyler Technologies, to go ahead and build that for us, so that the public can eventually get access to all of the accounting data that they might want to look up. Edgewood Elementary School building used for Parks and Rec, like I said, I'm still crossing my fingers and hopeful we will continue to have meetings with the superintendent and board members, and hopefully we will be able to use the south building, and look forward to working in the intergovernmental cooperation together on that. This is something I think important to the community. There's an outpouring of support for using the building on social media, and like I said, those conversations will continue. They do not have funding at this point to tear down the building, so that funding was denied by the PSFA, which is the Public Schools Finance, or Public Schools Facility Authority, sorry. So PSFA did not grant them that. Of course, they could apply for it in the future, so that's why, you know, we need to have those discussions about working together for the future. Town debt capacity. So we did have a meeting with bond counsel, and just for transparency, wanted to let the public know that the town has a lot of debt capacity, and I know that's not a decision that we are making by any means right now, especially with all this funding coming in, but this is for purposes of information to you all. So, for example, I think the prior administration, unbeknownst to myself and Councilor Abraham, had talked about a $3 million capacity, debt capacity for on our gross receipts taxes for the EPCOR condemnation. And of course, as we know, that didn't occur, but there is that current capacity that we have of $3 million of debt. We also have unused GRT, gross receipts taxes, that we could enact without an election of 0.6125%, which would equal about $880,000 a year. If we did an election, there would be an additional 0.3250%. So these are things that we have not enacted yet as a town, but I'm just telling you what's available that we could enact if the town ever wanted to, right? And I believe the entire GRT debt capacity is, with an election, I think is about 10.6 million. There's also, I wanted to point out that the taxpayers who are in the annexed areas are not currently paying taxes on what we had enacted prior to the annexation, okay? So anything from here forward, we could enact with those annexed areas, and then they would be paying taxes to the town. But right now they're not, and I don't think they know that. I think that they thought once they got annexed that they were just automatically paying for the property taxes, but in all actuality they are not. So we do have, we're only at 50% capacity of our debt capacity, and we have quite a bit remaining on bonding. So with the annexation, it's about 4.2 million. And I think that's about it. We talked about the outstanding loans, of course, through NMFA and the GRT loans from 2010, 2011, 2014. There's about 3.4 million outstanding in debt already. But we do have that option, if we ever needed to. So just want to let everybody know. Resolutions and ordinances for this, I just wanted to ask the commissioners, what's your preference on how we bring these forward? Do you want to start in any particular order? Do you want me just to choose some that we look at? You know, for codification, updating our ordinances and resolutions is holding up our codification. And so we need to find a way to tackle this, whether it's special meetings or doing a certain number of them in the regular meetings, but that could take a really long time. So in my viewpoint, we're gonna have extra meetings to get through these, and probably need, I need guidance from you all. Do you want to start with the oldest, start with the newest, and work backwards? Do you want a certain number every meeting? How would you like this to happen?
To me, it would make more sense to go with the oldest, because they're gonna be the most out of date, and start working our way up to the most recent.
Okay. Any other thoughts?
Madam Chair, we could also do this through a workshop sessions.
Sure. Yeah, I think we're
And
gonna
that
have more
would
meetings.
Yeah, that would kill a lot of time too, or take care of a lot of time.
What about doing them in order of like most relevant or highest priority, maybe?
That's the way I'd like it. Highest priority.
Powers, Donner, what do you guys think?
I don't mind starting with the older ones, but if we identify some that are being problematic, maybe it's from some input from the public. Some people have talked about the zoning ordinance and subdivision ordinance as being problematic, some changes that were made in the last few years, which may be a priority for the public.
Okay, so maybe we add that on next. Check with P&Z, make sure you guys are ready.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brad.
One of the things that I found, Commissioner, and it's because I'm getting a lot of constituent calls regarding nuisance properties, the way the nuisance ordinance is, and it's in the zoning ordinance, but the way it's written, my hands are tied unless the commission declares a specific property a nuisance, I can't proceed. So I'm gonna have to come to you with a big list of potential properties. I think there should be a mechanism where planning and zoning could initiate things on their own for some nuisances.
Okay, thank you.
The other thing that I've been hearing is that the animal control ordinance in some ways is very problematic to try to enforce. It's almost unenforceable when it comes to barking dogs and other things. So that might be another one. I kind of like to go based on the public input and what they're considering to be the most problematic.
Okay, well, anytime you all think of something or you're looking at them, just let Kay and I know, and, we can add them to the agenda, and we probably should schedule some workshops as well. We do have training this week at the end of the week, so a lot going on this month. But maybe we could start them in May. What do you guys think about that?
I think that would work.
Okay. All right, matters from the commissioners. Commissioner Powers.
There's a lot on the agenda, so I want to be brief. I think it's a great problem to have all this money coming at us to be able to do things. The challenge is going to be whenever you throw all this money at these municipalities and counties, that there's going to be a shortage of engineering and construction services for this. So that's the next problem, is how do we get it spent effectively with a short supply of labor or services? So we've been working on that and trying to get ahead of it. There are some projects that are ready to go. There are some that are almost ready but have some problems. So been working on identifying those. I wanted to also mention that I just heard that Edgewood has about $1.5 million allocated from the CARES Act, which can be used in multiple different ways. There's laundry lists of things from infrastructure to different services. So I think it is going to be a challenge to do that, but it's a good problem to have.
Commissioner Anaya?
The only thing I have is that, you know, we've all been working pretty hard on these projects, trying to put them all in order so that, we can itemize them and, get them out to the, grant writers and try to get them all approved as fast as we can since our time is limited. And I want to, especially thank the staff for putting in all the extra hours in, helping, put these packages in the right order. So thank you guys.
Commissioner Brennan?
For starters, the flagpoles, I'm told that the parts are in. And we're just, the only thing we're missing right now is the light that goes on the top, and that is at the, post office. So we can pick those up and, get maintenance to start, get ready to, put them in. They just need me to show them where to put it. And we can get those, flagpoles put up. Transportation, that's part of that tsunami. We had a meeting Friday, to go over, some of the things that need to be, really looked at and try to get more money for. There were 3 roads that were definitely identified that needing, immediate attention, like resurfacing. That was, Broken Arrow, Epic, and Dinkle. Epic is a chip sealed road and it's starting to fail. So we need to, definitely go ahead and make sure we get that covered up. Appaloosa and Steeplechase, I believe we've got the money for those 2. Or are we short?
We're not short, but we would rather use infrastructure funds than operational funds, so we will be applying to DOT for those.
For more money, okay. And of course, we all know the situation with Church Street. I was out there today, take a look at it. I've been through there, just hadn't really looked as close as before, but now I was really looking at the lowlands. Yeah, that's gonna need a lot more looking at. It's gonna be a difficult one to put together, because if we don't do this right, we're gonna be washing people's homes away on a bad rain. But we can always, I mean, once again, in some of this, the money that's coming through, we can go ahead and request more money to help with the additional engineering that's gonna take to make that work. We gotta make sure, we gotta do it right the first time. We can't go digging, work on it, then dig it back up again. We don't need another Horton situation. Roads that we're looking at possible paving in the future, would be Horton, which is, from Venus to Frost. There's a section that goes from, I can't remember which intersection it was, to Frost, where, I mean, the road itself is at a steep, it's at an side angle. And it's technically classified as an unimproved road, and then that's gonna need a lot of work to get that straightened out, so we can have a decent road that accesses, Frost from that end. So that'll be, requiring, engineering on that, so we'll be looking for, funding on that to get the engineering done, because like I said, it's gonna be a lot of work. A couple of the other roads that might, possibly looking at would be Venus, V Hill, and possibly Square H, but that Square H is at the bottom of the list. The other thing we looked at, well, so we're talking about there's gonna be money out there for, charging stations for electrical cars, and we're discussing possible locations. Excuse me. 3 places that we came up with possible locations would be Town Hall itself, which would be here. The old Town Hall building, because if we're gonna go ahead and if we possibly lease that building out, having a charging station there ups the value of that property for us. I mean, it's gonna definitely, benefit the town as a whole, and possibly also a charging station over Venus Park. So when people are out there, participating in different events, there'd be a charging station available. That's what I got for today.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Donner?
Okay, so you've already spoken a lot about the funding that is available out there. In reference to broadband, I have a meeting next week with Matt Schmidt he's the broadband advisor for the state of New Mexico, to talk a little bit more in detail about what the town should go after. So that'll happen next week. And then I had been in touch with the USADA. They have a grant or a program called the Reconnect program. They just seem to be shoveling out money to a lot of the different municipalities in the state. Hatch, New Mexico was just awarded a lot of money to start implementing more of their broadband, and Laguna Acoma was also given a lot of money in the recent year. On top of that, there is a ton of economic development grants out there. So I have been working with Parks and Rec, Allison, and I have talked a little bit, talking about the outdoor recreation. A lot of the things that we're going to go after are going to overlap with Parks and Rec. So there's going to be a collaboration there. We've had interest, people wanting to join the Economic Development Committee. Please send your resumes and your interest in, and that way we can go over them as a commission and start getting you guys on board. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Matters from the interim clerk treasurer.
Madam Mayor and Commissioners, I have received bids for the plumbing for this building, and we reached out to several companies. A lot of them did not want the job. It was too big for them. I did come up with two. One is in the amount of $16,851. The other one is in $9,989, and that would take care of the town hall and the library. So our town manager has reviewed the bids as well, and it has okayed the lower price point, so we can get started and get our bathrooms fixed.
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Anaya.
Stephanie, question.
Yes, sir.
What did the second bidder leave out?
What did he leave out?
Are these equivalent bids?
Yes, because we did walk with all the companies that came in and showed them exactly what was going on. And each of the restaurants, they took notes, and this is what they gave us. Do we read what they, each one, there's only two. What did they leave out?
Yeah, I'd kind of like to know if they bid exactly the same thing.
Yeah, being from a
when you
plumbing.
got $9,000, 50% off, there's something not in there. And I know this because I did a lot of projects in plumbing.
Maybe we can get a copy of the scope of work and the
Yes,
proposals.
they both listed, their scopes in here.
Okay.
We can go over those later.
Okay.
Quite the range there.
Yeah.
Coming from a plumbing and heating family, that's a little concerning.
Okay, we can discuss this tomorrow, and then we can bring it back if you still want for me to change what's on here or ask for additional information from the plumbers, from the companies.
I don't think it's required, for you to bring it back, but for transparency purposes, we've been kind of just sharing this information with the public and everything, so thank you, and I think if there's no objections from the commission, they can just go ahead and choose what's appropriate after you check it for completeness.
Okay. The other thing is that, we have gotten the list of from the county for the upcoming elections, the general elections, both for the primary election and the general election, the dates, and this facility will be used for those. And so I think one of them will conflict with a regular scheduled commission meeting in November, I believe is the one that, well, we would be the actual election day, was the first Tuesday of the month. So I have these dates, we've posted them on the website, and we've also posted in our 5 locations. The other thing is that, the audit has been released, and on the next agenda, the company will virtually present the audit and the findings, and, she will send in the booklet so that you can view them before. As soon as we get them, I'll make sure that you get them so you can look at everything that was in that audit book.
And we do have a resolution that has to be drafted and submitted to DFA now. That's a new requirement the past couple of years. And so the commission has to, approve, well, let me think of the right word here, accept the audit. So they want us to accept it. So we review and then approve that resolution. So, and I can get you the template.
And you would like that on the next agenda as well?
Yes.
The resolution?
Yes.
I'll put that on there. And that's everything that I have, Mayor.
Okay. Matters from the interim town manager.
With the update on the appraisal of Old Town Hall, we have had 3 bids for the commercial appraisers, and that we chose Brian Godfrey Appraisal, March 15th. He was the same price as another appraiser, but he was very responsive about setting up a date to start their appraisal. It'll take about 3 months for the appraisal to be done. So the purchase order was given to him March 15th. And then I would like to introduce our new town employees. And after I give your names, if you don't mind standing up so the public can see who you are. The first person that I'd like to introduce is Lydia Upchurch. She's our new administrative assistant. Emmanuel Madras, he's a maintenance supervisor. Mike Arejanas, maintenance worker. Jeffrey Johnson, maintenance worker. He is sick today, but he was not able to make it to the meeting tonight. And Marcus Moya, heavy equipment operator. And Arturo Sandoval, another heavy equipment operator.
I apologize, he had to go out to get his kid. So he literally just had to walk out.
That, I understand. So these are the new town employees, and I think they're very well qualified, and I appreciate that they did accept their positions with the town of Edgewood.
Welcome.
Yeah. Do you want to say anything?
Welcome.
Okay. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate you coming tonight beyond your work hours. We have we are have posted for the job opening for the Parks and Recreational Manager. It is posted, and we are getting to a point that we will be making the decision to call in the candidate for an interview. And then we have we're working on the correct job description for code enforcement officer or clerk and town manager's job descriptions too, so that we can get them posted when we have the job description approved by the commission. And then we have I'm asking for the commissioners to approve the alcohol permit for the 4th of July Rods and Brew Car Show. I think we have the flyer, and what it is that they wanted to get the approval as early as possible. They will be providing the car show in front of the town hall here in the parking area, and they are getting the license, and he is in process of getting the license, and when the copy of the license is given to me for the town to approve, I will present it to the commissioner at that time.
So on this, commissioners, I'm going to go ahead and recuse myself, not because of an actual conflict of interest, but anything, I guess, that could be perceived as a conflict of interest, and for this particular action item. And Tony is here this evening if you have any questions for him. So with that, I'm going to leave the room, and then you guys can grab me after you've voted. I'll turn it over to Mayor Pro Tem Powers.
I thought you were gonna leave because you drank too much.
So, I'll entertain a motion then for approval on action item D.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Go ahead.
I make an approval for action on approval of alcohol permit for the 4th of July Rods and Brew Car Show.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion on this? Go ahead. Just commissioners, okay?
Okay, Commissioner. Tony, I have a question for you, please.
Yeah.
We now have, a brewery coming up here in the town. Have they been contacted to see if they would participate with this also?
I haven't asked them yet because they're not really open. But I guess I could go there because there's people working over there, but I think those are just the workers, right? Just the construction guys?
That is correct. Have they received their license? I mean, the business license.
I'm not sure if I believe they have received the business license. They haven't done a development review completion yet. It's in process, but I do know who the applicant is, and I'm happy to provide you with that contact information.
Okay.
But I'll follow up. I haven't talked to the applicant for a couple of weeks, so I think things are a little bit on hold right now.
Okay, because that's something, we could have both of them out there if possible.
Yeah, that would be cool.
They have their license and they do have a serving license. Excuse me, it's a brewery off of, First or Second Street, I forgot what it was.
Okay, that's a good idea. If I get that, I can get that information later.
Yeah, because it's for the community and they're gonna be a big part of our community.
And now that they're in Edgewood, I think that's great.
Yes, sir.
Good for them.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay. Any other questions on the show?
No, I'm good, I'm happy.
Okay. If there's no further discussion, then we'll take a vote. All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That matter's passed. Will somebody go ahead and get, the K's already on it. We'll wait for the mayor.
Next item, I'm going to ask, that you think about this. We do have it as an action item, but it is a consulting contract with Mr. Roger Holden for Parks and Recreation. I have talked to him, and he has given his contract, yet the contract is over $3,000. And so I need to go through the procurement process and get 2 other bids, yet it is going to be very difficult to find somebody with his knowledge and his experience to pass on the plan is that when the new Parks and Recreation manager is on board, that all the information and knowledge and whatever documents he has will be passed on. And it cannot be done in just a week or so. Apparently there is quite a bit of work to be done. And, it's almost quasi sole source, yet I need to go through the procurement process of getting 2 other bids. And so I just want you to understand that this is in process right now. And if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer it.
Any questions? No?
And lastly, it's not on the agenda, but I would like to have the commission's permission to, perhaps we can look at and create a finance director's job, and we will come up with a job description where we will be splitting some of the workload from the clerk's workload because we do have a huge amount of, outside monies coming in, monitoring, grant writing, taking care of all the projects that we have currently are working on and will be continuing to work on. And for the clerk and for the town manager's position, we have had tremendous amount of work that we're trying to keep up with, not only the current work, past work, but the future work that's coming up. And the town has gotten to a size and the, how should I say, activities that it would be wise to think about adding that position for the future town manager and clerk treasurer, because these two positions cannot handle the workload of this finance director's position. So can I have your permission to at least get a job description, have that studied and looked at, and perhaps comments made on it, and think about perhaps opening that position for the future.
Any questions or objections? I think this is, I mean, obviously the approval of the position would come with the job description itself.
Yes.
But I think she's just kind of giving us the heads up that this position is needed. And there's, you know, wording that they want to put together for it. I think it's very wise. I mean, it had been recommended in the past to break apart those two functions. And the previous clerk did have an accounting degree, and so that's why, you know, a lot of that was handled in his position. But now with the volume, I think it's just critical that we have a finance director in place. Commissioner Powers?
I just think with the volume of money that's coming through, the grants, all the buckets of money, all the stipulations and conditions that differ from pot to pot, that would really be a good idea. I think we're gonna have trouble managing all of this if we don't.
Yeah, there are a lot of compliance areas that, you know, I know as an auditor, you go in and audit the federal grants, and there's all kinds of reporting and a lot of stuff that has to be done. And for compliance, it's really a full-time job just in that.
Yes.
And so, and with the accounting as well for all of these different things, and the applications too.
So this isn't an action item requiring a vote. We're just saying we'll take it up when they get the job description together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
After carefully going through all of the packages that I've had the privilege of going through, I highly recommend that we put somebody in here with definitely a strong financial background in, most of all, not only in government entities, but also in a business manner. These files that we've had are just, they're scary. And I'm afraid that the town is probably going to find a lot of findings in prior or in previous, or excuse me, in our next audits and stuff like that. So I highly recommend that the staff look into that and go forward with it.
Okay. And Stephanie, if you wouldn't mind, tie it in with the org chart too, so that we can update the org chart if that's what the commission wants to decide.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we have a public hearing, the continuation of proposed ordinance number 2022-01, procurement ordinance. We have this in our packet, and we made a lot of progress last time. The changes are shown. I looked through the minutes, and I believe we have the changes that were proposed by the public reflected in here. there's any comments on the procurement ordinance in the audience here, please come up to the mic, state your name and address and your comment. There's no one here in the room, we can go online, caller number 2 and caller number 3. Any comments on the ordinance?
I read through the ordinance and I think it does what you want it to do, and I didn't find any place where I would recommend changes.
Thank you, Ms. Eden. That's very helpful. I know that you were gonna look through and make sure that there weren't any, catches where things were conflicting or anything like that. I really
Correct.
appreciate.
And I found none.
You found what? None. Okay, thank you. All right, thank you very much. Then we can go to caller number 2. No comments, all right, and the go-to meeting, Linda Burke. Okay, and anyone else in the room? All right. Now, we did have the one, issue we were gonna mull over, is the way we said it, as far as the requirement for change orders to do 5% and or 20,000. My preference is just leave it at the 20,000 so it's consistent, but we can definitely talk about that here. Just had a chance to think it over. This is where, for larger contracts, Bryce was saying that, the 5% or $20,000 threshold could come into play if we wanted to word it that way.
I have a comment, Madam Chair.
Sure, Commissioner Powers.
So, having been a contractor, I am aware of what Mr. Simons was talking about. It's common to have change orders of about 5% or so. And if we limit it to strictly 20,000 on the larger contracts, that would mean that we would have a problem with continuing the project. If we required a change order, we'd have to go back out for RFP or bid.
No.
No.
Just the change order, they would have to come and present it and get approval from the governing body.
So it would require governing body approval above the $20,000 limit?
Yeah, just to manage, I guess, and have some accountability.
So it's not an absolute limit, it's just a requirement that's governing body approved.
I guess it would be, didn't we have that with the attorneys too, where they have a contract and if there's any amendment to the contract, that they have to come to the governing body, but maybe similar to that.
Okay.
Any other comments from the public or the commissioners? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I just want to say that I think this is the right direction. It's going to add more workload for our staff, but it provides a more stringent accountability and political accountability for purchasing, which I think is important. So I'll make a motion to approve the new procurement ordinance, which is 2022-01, superseding 2018-05.
I will second.
Moved and seconded. Any other questions or discussion? Administration, any thoughts? Okay? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Anaya?
Aye.
Commissioner Donner?
Aye.
Commissioner Brennan?
Aye.
Commissioner Powers?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Next, the public hearing for continuation of proposed ordinance number 2022-04, Parks and Recreation Ordinance. And for this, could we have a representative of Parks and Rec come on up and let us know again, maybe your changes? I know it was about midnight last time, so I don't know how much of that we retained.
Okay, so I didn't know we were doing this, but I know the major changes were the number of members. We were going from 5 full-time members and alternate to, 7 full-time members, no alternates. The other major change was, going from a quarterly required meeting to a monthly required meeting, so we can actually get more things done, so positive. And then one of the other items of note was that the committee was going to do they could do a separate report aside from the manager, Parks and Recreation manager, to have that kind of second voice. There were a lot of little words that we changed differently, but those were the main big ticket items. I don't really think there's anything else that was substance.
I think we did also add that, the committee basically has the right to advise the commission. So as an advisory board, not making decisions, but advising the commission that they could come with the department each month at the second meeting and, present information as well as the Parks and Rec manager.
Yeah, I tried to say that, but I didn't say it as eloquently. As opposed to being completely under the Parks and Recreation manager, they would have a separate voice at the meeting. So yes, that was.
Okay, any other public comments? Any of you are free to come up and speak to the matter. Thank you, Ben. David or Ralph, do you have anything else? Okay. All right. Caller 2, do you have any comments? Caller 2? Caller 3, do you have any comments? We've unmuted you, caller 3.
Yeah, I have no comment.
Go ahead.
I said I have no comment.
Oh, sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing you. On the go-to meeting, Linda Burke.
I think she's
No
partying.
comment?
She's partying already.
Commissioner Anaya says she's partying already. Okay. All right, then I guess it's discussion for us. We want to make a motion in a second, and then we'll go into discussion.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion, to approve the Town of Edgewood ordinance number 2022-04, an ordinance establishing a Parks Recreation Advisory Committee.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. We'll go into discussion. One of the things I wanted to bring up was, similar to the economic development ordinance, I would recommend that all of the advisory boards have, 2 commission members, because one or the other may not be able to attend at any given time, appointed as well. That's my recommendation.
And where would that be in the document?
The membership in section 2B on the first page. And I would like to probably just use the same language that we used in the economic development ordinance for consistency purposes. Let's see if I can pull that up. So it says, what do you guys think? Do you want them to be consistent throughout all of the advisory boards? I mean, we would do that for animal control, we do it for audit and finance, the construction.
Yeah.
I think it's good just to have some consistency. Okay.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
Trying to find the ordinance, economic development. Is it posted online, the economic development ordinance already? Is it posted online? I'm not sure, Mayor. Okay. Can you check, Commissioner Donner? Not yet? Okay. Okay, any other comments? Let's review the section about reporting. So, this is in section E, powers and duties of the committee. In item number 8, it says, committee findings and recommendations shall be presented directly to the governing body at a monthly meeting, independent of any reporting by the Parks and Recreation Program Manager. Well, I would say maybe in collaboration with, but they do have that right to report to us as advisory. And of course, you know, not making, we say through this whole thing, recommendations, you know, so they're just advising management and the commission both. What do you guys think about the wording in 8?
I think I like how it stands.
You like it that way?
Yeah.
What was that wording again you were going to use?
Maybe in collaboration with the program manager. But I'm fine leaving it the way it is too. I mean, that was I remember, and former Councilor Abraham will remember this meeting where the Parks and Recreation Committee members were, in my viewpoint, completely disrespected. And as I tried to ask them to be able to come up and speak, you know, the other counselors were not even in favor of allowing them to speak. And then they made a new rule that to allow anybody to come speak, you had to have a vote of the commissioners to allow anybody to come speak. And they pretty much decimated that committee by removing members and not even really allowing them to have a voice. And I found that to be very egregious. So I wanted this to be empowering the committee to give their advice to the commission, because that truly is their function. No matter what's happening politically, they should be able to give their opinions. So.
Yeah, I don't think by the way it's worded here, I don't think it's gonna create any problems. I mean, it's.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this actually kind of speaks to what you're saying and allows them to speak independently of a town employee.
Okay. Now, one of the things that I always recommend to the committees is just to keep in mind, always to be, you know, trying to work together in unity and on the same page as management, because there's the administration, because the last thing we want is a board that's, you know, adverse to the administration or the employees. That's not healthy at all. So it needs to be a collaborative type effort. And so I just wasn't sure if that language was too strong, but I mean, I think they know, and we encourage them. Look, this isn't to come against the town in any way. This is just to be supportive and work together as a team with the commission and with the administration. So.
Can I say something quick?
Yeah, come on up, Ben.
So, what you guys are discussing right now is exactly what we were deliberating on when we were writing this, because we thought, should we say they may present separately? And ultimately we went with shall, because if it's under committee reports, a separate line, that gives the committee a standing chance every time to say something. And the idea would be that most of the time we'd get up and say, we don't have anything in addition to the program manager. But, you know, there may be occasion where they may have forgotten something, or like you said, worst case scenario, things get changed or shoved under the rug when they shouldn't be. So it would just give us, as a committee, a chance to have that standing spot there. And again, the idea would be that we would work in collaboration, that it would be an agreement type thing, but, yeah, we had this discussion and that's kind of what we came up with, so.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I was looking at the last page where they would prepare, distribute, and post the agenda for the committee. Could that not also, at the end of that, say, as per the Open Meetings Act, so that they meet the timeline, and they are meeting the timeline as far as getting us the draft agenda, the agenda to post?
So,
Number two, 2A on the last page.
So,
They're not
in this
subject.
capacity, the program manager shall prepare, distribute, and post the agenda for the committee meetings. And so with this, I think that the Open Meetings Act is not required for the advisory board. Of course, I think, you know, doing this, make every effort to do that, but that's up to the commissioners if we want that stringent, requirements placed on the advisory board. Actually, for the Audit and Finance Committee, I don't recommend it, because there are a lot of like confidential things. For, Parks and Recreation, I think it's not as, you know, sensitive, but from what I understand, historically, the advisory boards have always posted and made sure that the information gets out there, on the website and on the calendar and electronic sign and everything.
And Madam Mayor, again, I'm just asking.
Sure.
Under, E, powers and duties, number 7, then the town would still keep their records, their minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They should be subject to IPRA.
Okay.
And, the town should keep those minutes and agendas and everything.
We have in the past, but I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And with the, board docs or whatever software we end up with on that part, we saw in the demo that actually you can have a whole another section for the advisory boards that have their own, areas where you can click on what they've done in the past and everything. So I think it's pretty transparent.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Okay, so we are in discussion at this point, but I'm going to make a motion, to have the administration update section 2B to reflect the same, language as the economic development ordinance, with the membership consisting of including the 2, board members or commissioners, governing body members. We can't say counselors anymore.
And how will those be determined?
I believe the wording says that it's the mayor appoints with the approval of the commission. Did you remember, Commissioner Donner, how many in total we ended up with then? On your committee? I know, but 2 commissioners, but how many total on the 7? Yeah, so that would be consistent here with the 7 members, so 2 would be. And we don't, I guess we only have on this one, the membership, so we don't have like, what would I say, experience or background requirements, so it wouldn't reflect that. Those things would stay the same here as far as where they reside. within the municipal boundaries, or owning property within the boundaries, or reside within the 3-mile extraterritorial zoning limits, or own a business located within the municipal boundaries. So that's pretty broad, and that would stay the same. So we would just be adding, the 2 commission members, and, I'm trying to think, did we say that there was gonna be ex officio members, the town manager would be ex officio, didn't we say that?
I think we took that out.
We took that out, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll make a motion for section 2B in membership to add, that 2 of the 7 members be commissioners appointed by the mayor with approval of the commissioners. Do I have a second?
Is that a friendly amendment to the?
No, it's a separate vote.
Wait, so is that 9 total people now?
No,
Or is
7.
that, so 2 of the 7
Mhm.
are gonna be commissioners?
Right, because that would be, consistent with all the other boards.
Well, one of the commissioners is typically just like a reserve. They don't vote, they wouldn't vote to attend the meetings, correct?
I would say they could if they chose to.
See, I think it should be in addition to the 7. I don't know that the commission should take up the 2 of the members of that board.
Yeah, I think Mr. Wilbeck says so.
So, a lot of these other committees were new. We already have 7. We already have 7. So if you want to do that, then 2 people would be kicked out.
Did we appoint already, or I thought
We have,
just
okay, so we
appointed
have
5.
6 appointed right now,
Okay,
and 1 volunteer that's not appointed.
okay. So for this
But
committee.
I think it should be an addition because, you know, like you said, if there's 2 commissioners, possibly both of them wouldn't be there all the time, and then you'd have less people outside of the commission, but that's my thought.
Okay, thank you, Ben. So I will amend my motion, to have this wording in section 2B state, consists of 9 members, 2 of which would be commissioners appointed by the mayor with permission of the commission, for this particular committee. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, now, in going into discussion, I just want to say, if we're going to have consistency, Commissioner Donner, feel free to bring back yours. I mean, you know, if you want to edit it, that's fine with me.
I think the way it's worded is, it's an addition as well. I'll have to go back and look, but I can make
Okay. I think you may have to bring it back, Commissioner Donner, but you can take a look.
I will do that.
All right. Any other comments on that particular motion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Now, is there any other discussion or changes? And we can vote on the ordinance with that change we already just voted on. Okay.
It does say 2 governing bodies.
We'll do this on roll call vote, for the approval of an ordinance, 2022-04, establishing a Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. And, we'll do roll call, so Commissioner, Brennan.
Aye.
And Donner.
Aye.
And Powers.
Aye.
And Anaya.
Aye, and it does say 2 members of the governing body.
Okay.
I just looked up.
All right, great, and I vote aye as well. Thank you all. Good work. And we are to other discussion and action items, facilities usage policy. For this, we are going to be looking at some other governmental entities, for, you know, kind of the model of what we might want to see. Any other comments?
Yes, Mayor, we have reached out to some of their agencies, one of them being the schools.
Okay.
We haven't heard back yet, though.
Okay. That will be brought up again in the future. And then now we have general public comments, so anyone that would like to come up and speak in the room here, come on up.
Thank you, Ralph Hill with Parks and Recreation. And I'm forewarning you, there's a big event coming up. We're talking about the Memorial Day, and we want to designate, there's only two places in New Mexico that are the Purple Heart towns, Albuquerque and Rio Rancho. We want to be a third Purple Heart town, plus have a Purple Heart trail. And what we're going to be asking for next session is to give us a proclamation to that effect, so that we can go to the official Purple Heart organization, and they can authorize it. I have one I'll drawn up. I'll bring to you, and you can vote on it if you would next week. But it's going to be an all-day event, and I've talked to the maintenance people about the bouncy houses and the police department about getting us the flag, and I'll talk to the big flag. We'll have at the same time we'll be working with Commissioner Brennan's flagpole. That'll be starting off the event, and then we'll have a small parade just directly from here down to the park with the honor guard, and maybe the Army band, and also maybe if someone wants to play bagpipes, we might have that too. But appreciate you looking at that. Thank you.
Thanks for doing that. We tried to get that done in the last administration, and it just kind of fell through the cracks. So I really appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, they've worked really hard on it, and from what I've seen of the agenda, it's fantastic. So members of the public, put a save the date, right, for Memorial Day. There's going to be activities all day long. And so, sorry, what?
May 30th.
May 30th. So coming up quickly, end of May, Memorial Day, I think is a Monday, right, usually. And we'll have a lot of activities going on at Venus Park. And starting off first, though, here with the flag ceremony at Town Hall, and then going down. And I'm excited about the parade, even though it's a small parade, because I think those are always great to see. Thank you guys for all your work on that, and let us know if you need anything. Okay, future meetings and proposed agenda items. We have the municipal league training. We have a special commission meeting, a quasi-judicial hearing for an appeal of the approval of a request to amend a master plan zone for Campbell Corporation, April 12, 2022 at 5 p.m. Regular commission meeting, April 19th, and budget meetings for fiscal year 2022-23. And when would you all like to start meeting?
Mayor and commissioners, do you want workshops? Do you want actual meetings?
We usually start with workshops, 1 or 2, and then, of course, we have to vote on it in a regular meeting.
Because the second meeting of May is when you'd have to adopt it so that we can submit it by June 1st. Okay. Do you want Saturdays? Do you want?
We've typically done a Saturday, so I'm fine with that. Should we look at our calendars? So maybe towards the end of April?
Okay, the 23rd or the 30th? Or the first meeting could be on a Saturday.
23rd.
April 30th?
Yes, that's good with me.
We'll start at 9.
9's a good time.
Let me look. Oh, I have an HOA meeting, but not until 2 to 3. Leadership hours.
That works for me.
Anaya?
The 30th?
April 30th, 9, and we should probably just stop at noon.
Yeah, because it's important.
So budget workshop. Okay, and we'll do it here at Town Hall and just kind of set up the tables out here. Public is welcome to attend. We'll live stream it as usual and post it, of course, and record it so that we have all of that.
Do you have 2, 3 meetings typically?
Usually, I think did we just do one workshop and then 1 or 2 meetings? Sherry, do you remember?
Two workshops. One of them was with a meeting, and then a meeting.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause I remember in my first year, for sure, we only did 1 workshop. And then I think this past year, we did 2. So it all just kind of depends on, maybe we decide from after the first workshop, like how complex and, you know, how many issues still need to be worked through. So let's do that.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Review of RFP for engineering services is coming up at the next meeting. Or we could do a special meeting. I don't know how soon. You guys can probably tell me. It seems like we need to do it quickly. You guys want to do like a quick special meeting on it to review the engineering RFP? That's what I recommend. What is today? The 5th? When do you want to have a special meeting? And also you could call in or video in if it's just a quick meeting. We'll do Monday the 11th. During the day, during the evening.
What month are we talking here?
April. Next Monday.
I'm gone from the 13th on till the 19th.
Okay, so we'll do Monday or Tuesday. Do you want evening or
On
day?
Tuesday, we have the Campbell Ranch.
Tuesday we have that, yeah. So we could do that, can we notice it out with it, like right before? Or just do separate? No, it could go on the agenda, right?
Or for the planning and zoning meeting?
No, for the, we have the, appeal on the 12th.
Right.
So what I'm wondering is if right before that procedure, that we could just, add an agenda item on for approval of the RFP for engineering services.
We want to schedule the time before, because it's already been public notice and there are over 107 notices gone out.
Yeah.
Starting the meeting at 5 o'clock, there, this portion at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah. So you would have to do it.
Let's do that instead, guys, because I don't want to have to do 2 meetings. So what time do we start at? What time are we starting?
We would be required to start at 5 o'clock on the appeal.
Okay, so we could do 4:30. Is that okay, commissioners? What?
I don't get off till 5, so I'll be rushing.
Why Why'd you run for this position, Commissioner Donner? Yeah.
Run fast.
Chief, you're gonna give me an escort, right? Not to jail.
I was gonna say, read the Governmental Conduct Act again.
I don't want that one.
We don't use our positions for personal gain. Okay, so 4:30, all right. It'll give us time for a break in between there too. I mean, it's not gonna obviously probably take us 30 minutes, hopefully not. Okay, engineers' presentations on capital projects. Who's got this one? This is something that I've requested for each of the engineers to present the project management tool with a timeline of what they're doing by when in the construction, so that we can see exactly what's happening when by week. So are those, Commissioner Anaya, are you scheduling those? Or Kay, are you?
Well, both Kay and I
Okay.
can do that. We have one for the next meeting then.
Who is it?
Smith Engineering.
Smith?
They were supposed to do it tonight, but,
And what are their projects?
we'll start with that one, and then we'll go to section 34,
Start with what one?
Smith Engineering.
Okay. But I mean,
We
what are
only
their
wanna do-
projects? What are they working on?
I'm sorry. Smith Engineering is working on, Appaloosa and, Steeplechase.
Okay.
And then Smith Engineering, no, SMA is working on section 34. BHI is on, wastewater.
Okay.
Horick is on Campbell or Church.
Church. Okay.
And, that's it for that.
Okay. So it looks to me like we don't need BHI because they came last time. We could do Smith and SMA at the next meeting.
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yes.
you also, just so you know, just a heads up, you will also have a quasi judicial hearing on the April 19th meeting to hear a zone change request.
Thank you. Zoning change on April 19th. Okay. Okay, so you'll get the engineers scheduled and Stephanie has everything for the agenda. All right, future events. Go ahead. You want to go over the future events?
Our future events, we will be closed on Friday the 15th in observance of Easter holiday. And then the next day will be the annual Easter egg hunt that's always been very, very successful.
So the Edgewood Police Department will once again be bringing back the annual Easter egg hunt. The Easter egg hunt was canceled last year due to COVID, so we're looking forward to making up for lost time with this event. We're hoping we have a great turnout. We're gonna have jumpers, games, free food. It's a 100% free event. We are also gonna have Parks and Rec that is gonna be assisting with the event. They're gonna have the Easter Bunny taking photos. They're gonna have golden tickets and a basket contest. So that'll be reviewed as well. We're also gonna have face painting, among other things. So we're hoping to have a really good turnout for this event, so spread the word. It's gonna be the 16th, starting off at 10 a.m.
Is the Easter Bunny gonna be here?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Commissioner Powers.
I'll second that
I
motion.
usually play Santa, so.
Okay, anything else? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So,
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, have a great night, everyone. Thank you.
Hey, it's not midnight.